But again, Susie and her just, the king has no clothes, telling the truth, just forces people. Forces them. I think we'll stop there. I'll take any questions.
Thanks, if your words, please. My name is Kieran Carl. I'm a colleague of Gary's of the hospital. I work in the radiology department and had the privilege of doing some of Susie's scans while she was being followed up during her illness. What Emma says is very true. The community in Kilkenny supported a CAT scanner, which was accelerated through the process by the Friends of St. Luke's. Unfortunately, Declan McCann, who was here for a short time earlier, had to leave prior commitment. But the Friends of St. Luke's are still around, and we would like to have them involved with Declan and the Friends, and we would like to help out, if at all possible, in this. I say our CAT scanner has been going for the last 6 years. Emmet sends patients to us, Gary sends patients to us, and it's important that the Friends are involved in this project. And I think with a bit of political encouragement from the local population, this process, which is already started, as Emmet says, can be accelerated. And I don't see it should take 6 years with the right will and a fair wind from the Department of Finance in terms of freeing up the resources for what's a very needed service. My own aunt died in Cork 3 years ago for breast cancer, and it was a pretty rough time for the whole family, and the home care team in Cork were absolutely excellent. And I think this is something that affects every family in Ireland, and something we should all be very concerned about. And I wish this campaign all the best. Thank you.
My name is Maureen Daly, and I won't stand up, I'm a bit nervous. We all have a reason to be here tonight. My reason would be that I've had cancer twice. 20 years ago when I got cancer, I had to travel to St. Vincent's Hospital and had chemo when I was a very young mother. And when I got it this year, I was treated at St. Luke's Hospital, and I would have to say that the staff and the surgeon there was terrific. And I just completed my chemo 3 weeks ago, and my prognosis is very good. And the unit there where I received my chemo was absolutely fabulous, and the staff there, and Mr. Hussein and his team did my surgery, which was a very long operation. I only met him the other night in Langton's, and I interrupted him. I just needed to thank him for the surgery he did on me. I see a gentleman here, and I was thinking, how do I know that man with glasses? He did my scans. When he stood up, I recognised him, and that's all I have to say. So I'm here really, hopefully as a fundraiser, and I also work with the home care team, so I know what it's like for people to die in their home. Thanks very much.
My name is Kay Brennan, and I'm here as just an ordinary person in the street, and I have very, very little faith in our political system, and I have very little faith in the HSE. I'm here as a person, a normal person, you know, in the street that admired Susie, and I've known Susie since she came to live in Kilkenny, and all I want to know is when can I start fundraising, because that's all I'm interested, that's my only interest in being here tonight. And the other thing is that, you know, I want to start fundraising. Can I get started fundraising?
I'd just like to state that we have a walk in Glenvaughan for the Susie Long Fund, and it's on Stephen's Day at 12 o'clock. It's a walk that was on every year for, well, it's linked with Third World Charity. It's, this year it's for Darfur and True Hole and the Susie Long Fund as well. So the walk is on 12 o'clock, Stephen's Day. And like again, I think out the country, you know, apart from the city, I think if we could get, you know, someone from the Northwest Kilkenny, this group walk is organised by Northwest Kilkenny, and with the Comer area and South Kilkenny. Kilkenny is great for the hurling and always kind of, as a team. I think it's an ideal opportunity to put our shoulders to the wheel in this cause. And I think that, what's true geography and journalists, that definitely was highlighted. And I know we discussed that at a meeting that we got unanimous support for. So thank you.
As a courtwoman, I'd have to reserve my own position on the Kilkenny hurling.
To follow from what Kay was saying in relation to we need to start fundraising, I think we also need to remember that we all have been fundraising already. We're all paying PAYE and PRSI, so we have been fundraising already, and I think we need to remember that, and it needs to be a fundraising and a campaigning group, kind of, and every penny we raise, I think we need to ask the government to match it penny for penny. Kind of, there's a number of ideas, like you can call on to the trade union movement. Like in Waterford, there was a great 50-50 campaign, 50 cents out of people's wages over 50 weeks. It was most of the workers in the factories contributing for a daycare centre for older persons. And something like that could be done. But I think it's very important, especially when you're asking the trade union movement, because they're very conscious that we have heard references to Connolly and Larkin. Like, we've paid for a lot of healthcare services, we've paid for them already, and I think we need to demand a lot of the services. So I disagree with Kay, and so when can we start fundraising? I think we all will put our hands in our pockets, and we all, if it needs walking or whatever needs to be, but I think we also need to make our political demands of our masters and say, we paid for this already, and we want to see some action.
Justine, can I just pick up on?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks, KB, Thomas, and the gentleman at the back. I just wanted to answer the question, what do? You want to start fundraising? If you just talk to one of us before you go home, people from the steering group will be wearing labels, so to be easily identifiable. And if you leave your details, well, we'll remember you anyway. And I should have mentioned earlier as well, that really what the fundraising subgroup, if you like, on the steering committee will be doing is just pulling everything together to make sure that we apply pressure in the right places for the funding if we need to do that, and also that we ask the right national or international funding agencies for money to support our cause. And we'll be also supplying all the necessary items that people will need to fundraise. For example, Susie Long Hospice Fund t-shirts, sponsorship cards, promotional literature, all that kind of stuff. And we'd expect all that stuff to be ready within the next few weeks, certainly by early in the new year. But that doesn't stop people starting to fundraise already. I should also have mentioned that we have a website which has just been put up recently. It's susielonghospice.com. And we will have a substantial list of ideas up there for people to use, if you want to do a fundraiser in your local community or whatever. So all those resources will be there. And there will be contact details there as well for people from the steering group if you want to get involved in any way. And of course we're going to have tea and coffee later, so hang around and we can talk to you.
Just like to say another thing as well. We're hoping to get charitable status, and I don't think there'll be too much difficulty in that, which will obviously mean that there'll be tax relief on any donations. So obviously bear that in mind if you're approaching corporate entities regarding fundraising for us.
You have to say something?
Yeah. And again, no, just briefly, and in cyclists, you don't know how I sound on this either, but remember, like a palliative care unit is home care as well. Just, I think it's 80% of the running costs of home care is paid for by you. Okay? Only 20% by the HSE. Now that figure will be changing, but never fast enough. And I think in your fundraising, just to keep it in mind that we don't set back anything that's already in place. They're very, they're not here tonight. I'd say they're pretty sensitive to levels of funds. But I suppose just to keep it in mind, we're all going in the same direction. And again, I have no idea how that sounds, but I just feel I have to say it.
Hi, my name is Ellen Barnes and I'm part of the steering group. But just to say that we are looking at collaboration and working together so that there's a better service with all the parts of the service that have been operating so well and so under-resourced for so long. So that there has been positive conversation with some people from the home care team, and we're looking to continue that dialogue. And we're also, though, aware that from the various reports that we look at, that in some areas the government gives 100% funding to home care teams. That happens usually where there's a hospice. There seems to be better funding for all the services, so they are people there and not having to fundraise for a home care service, and the funding is going to for additional services to hospice care or additional things. So we just have to be just to reassure people that we are trying to find out the information and to work to improve all the services.
Would anybody else like to say anything? Yes.
Nearly a handman. It's just that if it's going to take 2 or 3, maybe 4 years for the hospice to be built, would it not be an idea to campaign for 24-hour hospice care for people in their homes? There are people at the moment who are dying from cancer and do not have the support, the 24-hour support or weekend support, and it's just an idea that could we not start campaigning for 24-hour and weekend support hospice care in the home.
I wonder, has anybody here had direct or personal experience of the need for hospice? You do. Would you like to talk to us now?
My name is Penny Kavanagh, and I've been living here for the last 34 years. And last year in August, my sister died in Marymount Hospice in Cork, and it was incredible. I'm sorry. The care and attention that she got, and the care and attention we got as well, because apart from the fact that my sister was dying, in the middle of all of that, my father died suddenly, so we were faced with my sister in the hospice, whom we needed to be with because, down almost to the days they were able to tell us how long more we had. But at the same time, we were trying to organise my father's funeral and to be at home for him as well, because we couldn't leave him at home on his own. And I must say, they were outstanding. They arranged to have little service in the hospice for her while we were attending my father's funeral. And it was just the way they looked after us all. And we used to go in very early in the morning because of the circumstances, and the nurses would come in, and my sister was a beauty therapist, and her skin was the most important thing to her. And the nurse would come in the morning and she'd say, "Corina, what pyjamas now would you like to wear today? And will we tie your hair back or will we leave it loose?" And they spoke to her like she could speak back to them, because at that stage she was actually unconscious. But I just can't emphasize to you enough how important it is that everybody should have the opportunity to go with dignity and with love and with care, and that their loved ones should also be afforded the same kind of care. It was an incredible experience, and it wasn't, while it was of course very sad, it wasn't a morbid place.